Morning everyone. I'm just going to share a few thoughts from some of the Bible verses that I've been reading lately. Richard asked us to read 1 John a few days ago when he was last sharing his thought for the day, and so I've been doing that, and I mean it's a wonderful letter and it has a lot of really good things in, but one of the verses that struck out for me is 1 John 3:1, which says, "See how much the Father loves us, for he calls us his children," and that is what we are. And I think in this time, one of the things that I've been thinking about is how and what way do I connect with God when things are difficult, when things are challenging, or when I'm tired. And remembering God as my Father is one of the key things that I've learned over the years, and one of the things that I retreat to, I suppose, to build my spirit up. I've also been listening in my Bible in 1 year to the book of Deuteronomy. And Deuteronomy is quite an amazing book because it's actually a book that is written at the crossroads of the people of Israel's life. They'd been wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years and they're on the brink of going into the promised land. And of course, these people going into the promised land are not the ones who came out of Egypt. So Moses is there right at the very beginning, and he starts talking about the whole experience of what the last 40 years has meant. So it's a book of testimonies, of remembering what has gone before, but it's also a book that looks forward to what is coming. And on Sunday, we were reminded in the Shine meeting that it's good to talk about what God has done in the past in order to think about what he will do for us in the future. So really I'm following on a little bit from that thought and that idea. But there's a verse sort of hidden away in chapter 1 where Moses is talking about the people, what they'd experienced of God in terms of his provision, in terms of how he got them through the wilderness. And it just says, "In the wilderness you saw how the Lord your God carried you as a man carries his son." And I think sometimes for me, visual pictures speak a lot better than words because I see things. And so this picture for me is really precious because I think, yes, that's what God does. He carries me. And I just want to share just 2 little examples of how God might carry us. I'm very fortunate. I've just had a new grandson, and there was a lovely picture of my son with this baby just lying on his chest. And I thought, yeah, that's one image of how God carries us. When we are small, when we are vulnerable, when we are weak, God will hold us so close that we can even hear his heartbeat. And we are that close to him. And I think for some of us, that's the kind of season that we might be in. That's the kind of experience we might need of God's love at this moment. Just to know that he carries us on his chest. And he is so big. Even if we feel little, he is so big. But then the other image I had is of my son-in-law, and quite often when one of the boys would get tired when they were a bit younger, what he would do, he'd lift them up and put them on his shoulders, and he would carry them that way. And I think the wonderful image that brings for me is the image of being high and lifted up, of being able to have a different viewpoint. But not only that, being close enough to Daddy to whisper into his ear, being close enough to Daddy to hear Daddy whisper to us. And when I think of that image, I also think of that song by Josh Groban, "He lifts me up, he carries me." And I just think there's just that sense for some of us, we may just be tired. And we just need to know that if we're tired, if we ask God, he will come and he will carry us as a father carries his son through the difficulty, through the wilderness, through anything it is that is stressing us at this time. So I just bless you this morning, bless you that you might know how much the Father loves you today, that you might know that you are the child of the God who created the universe, and he is big enough and strong enough to carry you. And what's more, he does it with joy, and he does it with delight, and he does it with a smile on his face. So bless you all.